think everything's starting to kick off. I think that's what's up. Things are kicking off. Things are looking real nice. It's just, it's just all about just being in the moment, I think. You have the underlying energy as the Seven of Wands to see why we got that energy coming up because of the Eight of Pentacles. All right. Well, of course you're going to be protective of what you work so hard for, right? If you've been busting your ass trying to make your relationship outstanding, hell yeah, you're going to be wanting to stand by and make sure that it stays that way. Because it looks like you guys are very protective this week. You guys are really in this position of feeling like you have to kind of stand your ground with something. And when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, especially with the Eight of Pentacles underneath there, that's a lot of work. Yeah, you're going to want to protect this. This is something that you've been working really hard to maintain and really get to a place where you're kind of happy with. So the heart of your reading here is the Page of Cups. So some of you guys may have communicated your feelings. Someone else may have communicated their feelings to you. This could be that you guys have discovered something that you may like. It may be something that you desire, you enjoy. It's a new beginning as well. It doesn't have to be a gigantic new beginning. It usually isn't, but it's a start. It's a small spark of something. And it does have to do with your heart's desire, okay? It does have something to do with what makes you happy, okay? Or at least gets you kind of feeling a little excited, okay? So in the past, there was a lot of talking, a lot of communication. I think a lot of things move fast here with the Eight of Wands. Okay, you see that? Look at that. Everything's just like going towards the sun. That's some fast moving energy. Things were moving fast. Things were picking up. I really feel like things were just starting to make more sense. And you were able to jive with the energy. Right? And now I think you're kind of in a situation where you have to accept what you do and don't want. Now, I know the Lovers isn't about what you don't want. It's about what you love and getting your head on board with it. Right? Or maybe this could be that you're thinking of a practical situation using your mind, but your heart ain't in it. So I really feel like it's about getting both of those on board. But do you see this, right? It's about, the Lovers is always about getting one or the other part of you on board. It can also indicate, yes, there's a soulmate connection around you. Like saying with the messages and the communication here, I think you guys may just be feeling the love, feeling the connection, really protective of what you have here, right? You really do not want to compromise this relationship. I feel like you guys really want to preserve this and love on this and really be in the moment with it. I really feel like this is something that you guys have been wanting for so long and it's finally here, right? It's something that you've been finally happy with. But I feel like too, if this isn't necessarily about a relationship, this could be about work. This could be about what your dream is, your career. And I feel like for a lot of you guys, it's about getting your mind on board. It's like, okay, you about to make a really big step, right? You're about to make a step here that definitely will require you to, to really stand your ground regarding certain things. And I feel like it's about getting your heart on board with this, right? Or convincing your head of what will not be able to work because your heart ain't in it, right? What do you want that you're obviously not getting with this? Or what do you want here but your mind is having a hard time accepting, right? Because the whole situation here, it looks like you know what you feel, like you have a sense of direction. At least you have some sort of, you have something precious that you want to start growing. But I feel like the mind is like, okay, well, what about the logical part of it? What about this? What about this makes any sense? And it's like, well, it makes sense because we're going to do what we want to do and enjoy it and make that more efficient for us than working somewhere we don't really enjoy and not really putting all of our effort into it. Because the King of Wands is your best card to follow. So the King of Wands don't ever do anything he don't want to do. He never does that. And I feel like your situation parallels to the Four of Cups. You may be in a situation where you're just not feeling it, right? You may be in a situation where you're not feeling it, which is why your mind is like, well, it's, maybe the practical stuff is all handled because I don't see any Pentacles energy other than the Eight of Pentacles. Nothing in here is Pentacles wise. So I feel like everything's being handled Pentacles wise, financially, stable wise. You're doing everything that you're supposed to do in that front, but where the emotions and the feelings, they're coming up here. And the mind is the only thing that comes up here. Because it's a hard decision. I feel like it's a hard decision, whatever it is that you have to decide. Or it's a difficult situation to finally just kind of put to an end, if that makes sense. Like, you're not interested in kind of keeping the balance of the situation anymore, where you're kind of ignoring the circumstances, ignoring what your heart is saying. Like, you're done with that. You're ready to be the King of Wands. So it's like, Right now it's just about like, you know what, brain, I need you to just figure out a strategy with me to do what I want to do, right? Because this situation is boring. It's not fulfilling. It's not giving me what I want. So, I mean, I know this is the hopes and fears and I'm bouncing around, but this is what I'm getting from that. So let's see. Why is the Lovers coming up in the present? Give us some more information. Why is the Lovers coming up in the present? And that's a good energy. Because I feel like you're definitely, connecting with somebody that's definitely probably in the same vibration as you. Most likely. Let's see. Wow. Yeah. The ending of something, man. You ended something, but it's not like it's a bad thing. I feel like the Ten of Swords, it's one of the most difficult energies to overcome, but it's not impossible. And I feel like the Ten of Swords isn't telling you that it's time to end something. It's more about what can we do after we end it? Right? What does the aftermath look like? You know what I'm saying? And it looks like here, like in this Ten of Swords, the King is slain here, right? The King of Swords is slain. And that is really interesting to me because this is about the logic part of it, right? The King of Swords represents the logical, the mind, the thoughts, the belief systems. Not necessarily belief system, that's more of cups, but the facts, things that can be calculated, The thought part of yourself is no more, right? It's purely on passion, purely on what inspires you, what makes you feel, prepared to, what makes you, get full of life, So I feel like the King of Swords, even though it's, typically the Ten of Swords is not depicted as a king dying right here. At least I never saw it in the right way. This indicates to me that the King of Swords is being is being shut down by a lot of the truths that come up with this, which has a lot to do with what you want and what you want to feel. It's almost like you can see that cup, but you know what the other four cups are represent to you. Absolutely nothing. Right? Sometimes the Four of Cups is something that, that's a past energy, right? You're looking at, you're looking at the cups where it was fun, it was celebratory. And I feel like for some of you guys, this is not necessarily nothing, right? Some of you guys is like, you're not getting anything out of it. But at the same time, I feel like you guys are going to probably feel like you're going to miss the people that you're working with, people that you're connected with, if this is a work reading. Because Three Cups is groups and organizations. And when you're looking at here, it's just Three Cups. But they're still not satisfying. It's still not enough to keep you. So I feel like it's just like, right, I'm just going to have to just cut this and just go with what I truly want to do. Or at least start going in that direction because this isn't getting me anywhere. But then I think the fear when it comes up here with the Four of Cups is that you may feel like you're lost for real then. Like you're looking at, maybe I should have just kept that job. Maybe I should have just kept this lifestyle. Maybe I should have kept that relationship because now I'm completely bored. I have nothing. Or I don't have anything to give. I don't really know anything to start. But you do. It's right here in the heart. And it's the Page of Cups. If there's any doubt here. If it comes to any doubt or any regret. But the Four of Cups doesn't, to me, talk about regret. It really just talks about feeling like there's nothing left. Like there's no options for you. The only options is the stuff that you're used to, the stuff that you're familiar with. But the King of Wands always follows what he wants to do. Follows what makes him feel passionate. And it starts by looking at how he feels about the situation, but what he wants to feel. And I feel like you guys are really looking at what you want to feel, which is why the situation can't go any further. That's why you can't move past this, right? I think that's why the Ten of Swords coming up. Whatever ended has brought you to not really brought you to realize, but like this situation ended because you wanted to go ahead and achieve this. Things were moving great. Things were moving really fast, but it ended. Because it wasn't necessarily something that was giving you happiness, but this Lovers does. The heart knows what you want to feel, which is why you have the Chariot in the future. You moving fast, you balancing your head and your heart then. Because right now it looks like your head and your heart are, they're not at odds, but they weren't necessarily on the same page. And I think they're getting on the same page right now because you are understanding that, I can't continue to do something that I know I should do for responsibilities. But not enjoy, right? It's like, all right, I got to start going in a direction that really makes me feel happy. That's what you guys are saying in this reading. I really have an idea what I want to do. This isn't it. I'm going to have to cut this so I can have room for that. And if you get bored, you'll always be able to shake it up, because the King of Wands is always up for creativity and shaking things up. You guys are the King of Wands. You guys are the fire energy. That is all about creation and expression. So that's why I like the Chariot here. It's like the lovers, knowing what you love, going after what you love, even if that means saying shutting something down, and then riding that chariot to happiness, right? Bouncing your head and your heart, right? Stimulating both of those by going in the direction that truly, that starts to, make you happy, or like at least is in the direction of what feels good. So the King of Wands is in your best path to follow. And what he does here is just act. He acts on what he wants to do, how he feels, and how something makes him feel. He doesn't really settle with being of Pentacles or doing anything that is boring or does something that's responsible, because he's all about, if I want something, I'll make it work for me. I'll make sure that it hits all the points that I need to secure me, and I'll still have a good ass time. That's y'all. Right? That's the King of Wands' mentality. He's like, there's nothing in my situation. There's nothing that I love to do that can't support me too. So I like this. I really love this energy. I love this vibe of this entire reading, because when you look at the external energy, you have the Nine of Cups. That's the dream come true. That's contentment. That's fulfillment, or emotional fulfillment here. Emotional fulfillment with the lovers. And it's coming up as the Ten of Swords, because you ended something and it feels like because you ended something, you put your heart first, and that feels great. That feels freaking great. Right? You're like, okay, I'm done. I'm ready to do what I want to do. I'm ready to be who I really am. I'm ready to go about doing it. And I think that's so cool. Of course, with the Ten of Swords, right? It's not an easy, it's not an easy shutdown. It's never an easy shutdown. Whether this is a relationship, this is work, whatever. This isn't an easy shutdown, but it's still, you're good. You're good with that. This is something that you've been wanting to do. If at the very least you were done with whatever this was, because it's like you're listening to your heart. There's no Pentacles in here. You're listening solely to your heart. And considering that we're in Cancer season now, for this week, yeah, you're listening to your heart. And that's so important for this season. It's all about how I feel. Cancer is I feel. So it's all about how you feel. And you feel good. This is done. And you feel free. Like the King of Wands is freedom here. Which is probably why you want to defend it. Because you worked so hard to be this confident or feel this free. You don't want anybody to take that from you. And I don't think anybody will now, because you not only understand how much you're worth, but you also understand that your emotions do matter when it comes to situations like relationships and love and work. So we talked enough about the hopes and fears, but I feel like I want to go back over this one last time. And I feel like with the hopes and fears being the Four of Cups, there's no doubt that you're going to have, you're going to, worry about getting bored with a situation. Not feeling like a situation is bringing enough fulfillment. Like, even if you go down this path, it kind of gives you the vibe that, the fear is that going down your path will eventually leave you hanging dry, because you just end up not, kind of done with it. Like, okay, it was fun while it lasted. What's next? But that's the beautiful, like I said, if you be the King of Cups, right? The King of Wands, right? If you tap into this energy, what does the King of Wands do in a situation like this? When he's kind of caught in between, like, okay, what do I do next? He's always shaking stuff up. You have so many ideas. You have so many things to be creative, so many ways of being creative. And I feel like just focus right now on what matters, which is the starting point, the small idea. And I feel like the small idea has a plethora of different options and different things, different topics, different tools out of the toolbox, for instance. You don't just dream of one small thing. I feel like you guys have dreamt a lot of small things with that Nine of Cups. The heart of the reading may be now focusing on it and making this a priority and focusing on it like it's something precious to you. But I feel like you have a lot of options to go through. You ain't gonna run out. And if you do run out, you just, you have that beautiful energy of fire that creates things. You can create anything. It's all about expression. And if you continue to express, you'll never get bored. Because you're coming from an authentic place. The King of Wands always does. There's nothing ever dry or boring about being authentic. Trust me. So, your outcome, yes, shows the Two of Swords. Kind of caught between two decisions here. Or trying to keep the balance of a difficult situation. And it may be that this is your truth. Maybe these are, truths that you have to kind of decide whether or not really make sense to you. But I want to see, why do you guys have the Two of Swords in your outcome? What do you guys... Well, what is this? Oh, the Fool. About starting new. Starting fresh. It's hard. Not gonna lie to you. Starting fresh, starting new, it's hard to do. But it's definitely possible. I know y'all know it's possible. I know you guys know it's possible. But the Two of Swords is like, it's about making a decision and like following through with the decision and making something out of it. And even if you don't know the ins and outs of it, it's still going to be one hell of an adventure. And you're going to learn so much from this process. So, wow. That is one hell of a reading, Sag. Wow. Let's see what you guys got for the Messenger Oracle. Observe in silence. Okay, I believe Libra got this, but I can't quite remember. So, okay, observe in silence. That's a very interesting card to have. Because that usually means that I feel like with this situation, when the King of Wands comes up as an advice, you got the Seven of Wands here. And you got the Page of Cups. And all this stuff about going. I don't really see... I mean, I feel like with the Lovers, I feel like in some degree, this is about just enjoying where you are, right? Well, Lovers is an energy, of course, of your head and your heart, and a union, right? Unity of your head and your heart. It can be anyway. And I feel like maybe it's about enjoying this without having to worry about everything too much, right? You're going to recover, but focus. The love is going to heal that difficult ending, right? That shutdown. But at the same time, I feel like the Observer signs is that you got all the information that you need. The Eight of Wands. All that information that was flooding in, you got that already. You observed that. You've eaten that. You digested that. It's now about using it. Using what you've learned by when you were sitting quietly observing. Use the knowledge of all the experiences that you've been through. Orphaned. Now that's a card of feeling of, not feeling like you belong anywhere, trying to find your tribe, trying to feel like something is yours, right? And this is the situation I was telling you about. Like, I feel like your situation, yeah, it may have been satisfying the practical aspect, but it wasn't, it wasn't resolving your emotional aspect, right? It wasn't hitting you home. It wasn't inspiring you. It wasn't making you feel good about life, right? Which is, the King of Wands. He's all about living life and living life to the fullest. And it felt like you weren't living in the life of what you wanted to do and what made you happy. It was just about satisfying a certain area, which obviously shows. Pentacles ain't the problem. It's about what makes you happy. And in the Orphan, yeah, I think the thing is that you're going to miss your friends, or you're going to miss your relationship. You're going to miss that familiarity with everybody. But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily... I don't think those things have to completely go away. I don't think you end up cutting... You don't have to cut everyone off. Of course, right? But then I kind of get the feeling that the Orphan card can also indicate too that, even like, it's just hard to find a new, it's not find a new place, but to let go of what you've been so accustomed to. Right? That's the hardest part. But I feel like with the Orphan, the Orphan, the thing is that in order to find find your new place of happiness, to find your new tribe, to find your new family, to find your new friends, you have to be authentic.